Hello friends, Dr. Natalia here. Right now, millions of people, regardless of their age, income level, or profession, are struggling in all areas of their lives. They're worried about their finances, they're worried about their jobs, they're stressed, and they're anxious. The recent headlines, well, they tell the big story. But what's going underreported and in some cases completely unnoticed is the human crisis that's unfolding right before our eyes. Because right now we're experiencing a human sustainability crisis, which is really the perfect storm of three crises that have come together all at the same time. The first crisis is the cost of living crisis. As people endure rising prices for basic needs like groceries, their household budgets continue to be stretched thin. Now, the second crisis is the school to work and jobs crisis. See, a degree no longer provides a reliable foothold into the workforce, and clear career paths no longer exist as they used to. Career ladders are broken at all stages, and hard work and loyalty no longer guarantee that you won't be laid off or replaced by AI. And the third crisis is the crisis of uncertainty. We live in an era where the threats we face are pervasive. Whether it's worrying about existential threats, national threats, personal threats, or economic threats, our sense of survival feels constantly at risk. And all of this means that even though they did everything right, many can't get their lives started. They can't progress in their careers or can't recover from a layoff despite their degrees and experience, or they can't retire comfortably. And financially, they're downsizing, diverting, and delaying their dreams of tomorrow to survive there right now. And right now, when we discuss these crises, we usually talk about the big numbers. For example, more than 800,000 people have been laid off so far this year. More than 50% of families live paycheck to paycheck. 79% of people report being burned out. And 75% of people see little hope for improving their economic status. That's a 35-year high. Now, these numbers are big. They're staggering. And I could go on and on. So yes, these numbers are the big story. But underneath the big numbers and the big stories are the personal stories of what we're experiencing each day to make it harder to get ahead. The heavier weight we're carrying financially and mentally under the increased pressure and the fading vision of our own upward mobility, future goals, and our hopes for the next generation. What gets lost in those numbers is the stories of the people who did everything right. They did everything they were told to do. They followed their career paths and emptied themselves to succeed so they could live their own dreams and find their own happiness. But instead, their dreams now seem further out of reach. Lost are the stories of all the people who, as I speak, are afraid because they can't see their future. So they don't know if this moment they're living in is now their new normal or just their right now. Because beneath the big numbers, these are real people, these are real lives, real dreams that are unrealized, and the real fear for survival with a real questioning of what now? So just as we've come to understand that life on our planet will eventually become unsustainable if we continue to create climate conditions that can become too toxic for our existence, similarly, the huge and disruptive shifts we're experiencing in our standard and quality of living due to these crises without a clear path forward to a successful and meaningful future is now our crisis of human sustainability. And right now, we're at a critical inflection point that calls for us to see the urgency of acting on this human sustainability crisis, this public health crisis that we've not yet fully recognized. So, in order to create a more sustainable future for us all, the future must be human. That's why we at Blueprint Global are starting a national conversation to help us all recognize and solve this crisis. September 16th marks the first ever newly registered national holiday, Human Sustainability Awareness Day, to raise awareness of the generational crisis we're facing. And September 16th also marks the beginning of our 1 Million Actions campaign. Our goal is for 1 million people to take 1 million actions in 100 days, whether for themselves, for their families, or for others. That's from September 16th to the end of the year. Now look, I'm not a social media influencer, and I don't have a large platform. So the truth is, I have no idea if anyone is going to respond to this challenge. So if I end up just being one voice, then so be it, because that's a failure I can live with. What I can't live with is doing nothing. So I'm asking anyone within the sound of my voice and the reach of my heart to join me. Because while no one can do everything, everyone must do something to help create a more human and sustainable future for us all. Please follow the links to learn more.